Welcome back to a very special episode of Jesus, Coffee, and Wine. Today we are going to be talking to my beautiful, talented, wonderful, amazing, hilarious, candy-loving cousin, Julie Miller. She is not only our cousin slash little sister and dear friend, but she's also such an inspiration, not only for our kids, but for us, honestly. She loves Jesus. She loves wine. She does not love coffee, which I do point out to her is her one flaw. So there's that. But I wanted to address a couple of things before we dive right in, because one of the topics Julie and I covered today is Taylor Swift's new album. Now, if you are not interested in this topic, you can fast forward about 25 minutes into the podcast, and I don't blame you for it. But also, I would encourage you to listen because I think we're funny, but that's left up to the critics, I suppose. But we do talk about it because I think it's an important conversation to have. And one of the things that we didn't dive into together that I wanted to address here is the fact that Taylor Swift does not bill herself as a Christian. And I know there's a lot of chatter in the Christian community as to whether or not Christians should listen to her music. That there's potentially not only some explicit language, which we do get into specifically about this album, but her messaging and some of the symbols and metaphors and themes she uses are arguably witchcraft, are arguably things that we shouldn't be entertaining as Christians in our lives, and especially not sharing with our children. I think entertainment as a whole, I think music as a whole can be a very dangerous thing. What we let in is important, and what we keep out is equally as important, if not more so. I have large in part been an apologist for Taylor Swift, especially as a Christian, because I do think that she is a very talented individual. I think she is one of the greatest songwriters of our time, if not in the history of ever. And you can disagree with that all you'd like, but she is a master of words. And it is true that God gifts us all with spiritual gifts. Whether or not we choose to use those for his glory or for his kingdom, that's another conversation. But I do think she's been gifted. I do think she's talented. I'd love to see her use those talents to honor the Lord. But that's just not who she is or where she's at. And understanding that is part of being somebody who can appreciate her work. I say all of this to say, Julie's a songwriter. Julie's a very talented songwriter who is a Christian, and she doesn't write necessarily Christian music. Taylor Swift is not, and that's okay. But I do think there comes a point in time where we have to draw a line and say, okay, this entertainment has gone too far. I personally don't ever watch scary movies. I don't watch horror films. It's too far for me. But there are other things I've enjoyed in the past that may be too far for somebody else. Maybe there's some movies that incorporate some scare tactics that I find arguably acceptable. Others might not. We all have a different bar. We all have a different litmus test. I don't think it's a bad thing for Christians to be fans of Taylor Swift. And as Emily and I discussed in our episode, idolizing is a completely different issue. That's not what we're talking about here. Being a Swiftie or somebody who understands and appreciates Taylor Swift as an artist and one of the most iconic artists of our time does not therefore necessarily lead to idolatry. Sure, it can, but that's a problem, and that would be a problem for us. Anyways, again, if you care little about Taylor Swift or this issue, that's fine. But I do think as Christians, it's important to talk about entertainment and what is acceptable and where our hearts really need to be focused. And so with this album for Taylor Swift, Emily and I personally think that this is a fail, for lack of a better word, and that's okay. That doesn't negate the love we have for some of her older work and maybe for some of her work down the road. I pray for her. I pray that she finds Jesus and that her and Taylor. I pray for her and I pray that her and Travis have a beautiful life together and that they find Jesus. That's all I can do. Anyways, Julie Miller. She's a fantastic artist and someone we love deeply. And we talk way more about other things than we do Taylor Swift, particularly her career as a musician, her life as a young Christian woman in a dating world that seems next to impossible to navigate, and how she's relied on God through her journey. It's actually one of the most incredible and beautiful stories, and I can't wait for you to hear about her journey thus far, and honestly, her journey to come, because I'm excited to share that with you as well as we watch it unfold, and we have the privilege and the honor to stand by her side. And cheer her on and encourage her not only in her career, but her life, her relationships, her work. She's just an incredible person. I'm so excited to share her with you all. And at the end of this, I share one of her songs that it was her first song. She re-released 5 years later, an acoustic version, which I'll share at the end of this episode. It's called Friends Don't. Please share and stream and download her music. So without further ado, please enjoy this episode of Jesus Coffee and Wine with the one and only, very talented Julie Miller. Hi, Julie.
Hi, we're
Thank you
here.
I know, we're here. I'm so excited you're here. I've been wanting you to be here. And we didn't have this planned. I was on a couple week hiatus for multiple reasons, but we're back. And no one better to launch that with than Jay Mills. I don't know why this is funny.
Surprise!
Wonder where we went?
No, everyone's been waiting for me.
So here's the thing. I love that you're on tonight because it feels very timely. Like, I've wanted to have you on to talk about a number of things. So I feel like this could be all over the place, which is fine because that's like reflective of who we are. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Julie is my husband's cousin, but my cousin because of that. And also like our little sister and bestie and mentor to our kids, and just like an insanely talented, kind, humble, beautiful being that I am blessed to know. And one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about on this crazy podcast is you are a musician and an artist and a songwriter. And what I love about your work, which I'm going to share, is you are also a believer and you love Jesus and coffee and wine. You don't love coffee, but we don't have to talk about that. Kind of.
Tea.
It is your one flaw, but whatever. You do love Jesus. You don't love coffee. You do love wine. What I love about your work is you're not a Christian artist, but I do feel like your heart and your faith come through in your work, even though they are not overtly Christian. And I think sometimes in like the Christian community, or even honestly outside of the Christian community, the perception is, well, if you're a Christian, you need to do Christian things. And if you're not a Christian, you don't, it's like this line of division that needs to exist. But I actually have a lot of respect for artists that can like be themselves fully in their faith without having that be their work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to like dive in because there's a lot of things I want to talk to you about. You're young and lovely, very young. Not very, but you're younger than me, so a lot younger than me. And you have been just an inspiration. So let's talk about your songwriting, and then I'm sure that will open additional doors because, I mean, there's a lot to cover here.
Well, I'm so excited. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I've been a loyal listener of this podcast.
Thank
since
you.
it started because I love and support you and all that you do, but also because
Thank you.
you just have so much wisdom and you convey it beautifully, and you have a really cool network of people in your circle just because of the warmth of a person that you are. So I'm excited.
Thanks, Julie.
Yay, I'm honored. And yeah, it's true. I think it's hard, and it's something that I've struggled with in the past because Christians will ask me, like, have you ever thought about writing, worship music or writing about something related to your faith and things like that? And I'm like, I feel like I've tried to write. It's true. I have tried to write like worship music, worship songs, like diving into that, and I just can't do it. Like, I want so bad to be able to and I can't.
Yeah.
And I feel like that question is hard for me because I'm like, I feel like I do kind of write about my faith a little bit. Like you said, like it comes in my music because I just write honest music about my feelings and about my experiences. And as a Christian, of course, that comes through sometimes. Some others, maybe not in every single song, but I like that it does come through in my music. And a lot of my music was written in times of transition, times of confusion, love gone wrong, things about, life that are common and hard. Those are the times when I am leaning on my faith and feeling like that is such a big part of my life, even though it already is normal day, normal week, whatever. But in those times, it feels more prevalent and more important. And so I love that and bringing that into my music. I have songs about the best days of my life or things that make me really happy. It's just not something that I tend to write about because
Mhm.
it's not I feel like songwriting is kind of like almost a therapy for me in a way.
Mhm.
I don't need to work through those happy emotions by
Yeah.
myself in my room, like, at my keyboard. It's much easier to process those things, like, on my own. Um,
Mhm.
so, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up because here's the thing. We need to talk about you and so much about you. And I was going to wait to transition to this topic, but there is something we need to discuss.
Okay, let's talk.
And it is very relevant to what you just said and I'd like to dive in.
Let's dive in.
Okay, let's dive in.
Really? The ring light.
What?
The life of a showgirl, baby.
Number 1, I don't own a record player,
No, but you know what you do own? 4 of
but
those.
I CD player anymore. But you know what I do own? Did not bring those to show and
Tell us.
tell because I just couldn't bring myself. Where do I begin? You are a Swiftie. My daughter is a Swiftie. I am by default a Swiftie.
It's true.
We have been very excited for the rollout of this album. Very excited, along with the rest of the world.
Mhm.
She is now happy. This is the tie to what you just said. You were just talking about your experience writing, and when you're happy, that's not something you need to process and write through. But you've been writing. You've written about challenges and transitions in life, and feel as though Travis has ruined her.
Wow.
I'm just gonna say it because here's the thing. I love Travis. I love them together. I've loved watching the story unfold. Celebrated the engagement as if it were you. Okay? That's how close I felt to this. I
Mhm.
thought, why didn't he ask me to take the photos? Because quite
Wow.
honestly, those left a lot to be desired, but we don't need to get into that. But speaking of leaving a lot to be desired, is this album. And part of that, I wonder, and you are a songwriter, so I'd love to hear your thoughts, if this is a reflection of the fact that she's happy and she has just lost all of her craft. Because that's how it feels,
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
case you're wondering how I feel about it. And I no, I mean, I'm being funny and we can get into I'd love to like actually talk about it because I do think there's a lot to be said and a lot to dive into. And it's not just this is not about Taylor Swift, but I think this concept of like what I would like you to address
Okay.
the
I
lyricism.
will say, I listened to this album for the first time on a plane as the sun was rising at 6 a.m., and I really do think that influenced my thoughts just slightly.
Okay. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
also will say, I started right from the top, as I think you should start every album,
Mm-hmm.
and right away, my first thought, and you're gonna disagree with this,
Boy.
was, "Nailed it.
What? Julie, are you punking me?
She's done it again." Wait,
No.
wait.
No.
I'm gonna
No.
stop you right there. Because track 1 you don't like track 1? You don't like the Fate of Ophelia?
Well, I just don't even I have so much to say.
I know, I do too. I
Let's start there. If we're just starting with the Fate of Ophelia, fine. We'll start there. It's a bop. I like it. I can get into it. The first time I heard it, I was like, meh. It grew on me. Now I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm like, yeah, I can get into it. Go on.
Taylor loves a metaphor, I love a metaphor. So track 1, I was like, "I'm loving this. Really, really good." I
Okay.
think the first people are loving Opalite. I would say that's one of, like, my least favorites. That's okay.
Okay.
I think production-wise and, like, vocal layering-wise, this is, like, the songwriting nerd in me, though,
Yeah.
and it
No, love it.
is really cool. I think some of the builds, especially at the end of eldest daughter, father
Hmm.
figure, one thing Taylor can do well is a bridge out of many things, but she can do a bridge well, and I
Don't
think
you feel the bridges are missing on this album?
in some songs, but I think in others, they are so good in, like, Make It, and I'm like, "Okay, the moments in the album that I really like." I loved 1989 as well, and this
Fave.
album was yeah,
Fave.
produced by the same engineers, if I'm not mistaken. So I was like,
Parts. Oh, well, they did. Yeah. No, I didn't. They do
"We gotta fact check it." I'm not
Reb.
sure.
They were.
Yeah, they did that.
I'll look that up. But
You gotta look that
keep
up.
keep
Don't
going.
fact check me. And I feel like she did give us a little something new. We heard some vocal runs that we don't usually hear or see in her songwriting.
Mhm.
So I liked that. I think some parts of the album, and I'm sure this is where you're going, is explicit and things that we haven't heard from her before.
Yes. Now, I am the last Christian to be upset by some profane
Yep.
language.
True.
I'm not saying that makes it right. I'm just saying it does not offend me, and I feel as though sometimes that is the way in which I am able to express my feelings with no other option. I'm working on it. No, I'd say that. I mean, I really don't. I don't have a foul mouth like I like to joke that I do, but I'm not like shocked and awe over that. However, here's where my biggest issue with this album comes in. Taylor Swift is a billionaire. God bless her for it. Okay. Like I'm not upset about it. I know there's people that are like, this is just a rich billionaire. She's tone deaf. I slightly agree with the fact that she's tone deaf in this album with these lyrics, but that's my point is this with the explicit nature
There you go.
of the lyrics. She is a billionaire because millions of little girls look up to her. Now, that's not her fault, but it is a responsibility she carries, and she has at times catered to that, right? So, my issue with this album specifically is not because she drops an F bomb or says the B word or here and there. That doesn't bother me. The crass nature of this album is what bothers me. The narcissism and the self-indulgence of this album is what bothers me. And I have been an apologist of hers, and I still believe she is one of the greatest poets and lyricists of our time, if not ever. I mean, I was looking up while you were talking just because of the bridge, but she's this like just a master with words. She is. I mean, there's times I listen to songs that I've heard 100 times over, and it gets to one of her lines, especially in like All Too Well. You get to the lines that are just like, they just cut so deep, and it's genius. She's a genius writer. So how are we talking about wood? Okay. Like I know I'm all over the place. That like to me it's irresponsible. It's immature. Like the actually romantic diss track. Love a diss track, Taylor. Like go for it. She's done that well, and she's made that part of her whole personality and her brand. That's fine. This in particular diss track is just it's embarrassing for her. What I will say is I do enjoy some of the beats. Like I do, to your point, like musically or like production wise, no question, like there's some quality there. She's also sampled a bunch on this album, which I don't think she's historically done. So I don't know, Julie. I'm struggling with, hey, if this is who she wants to be now, great. And like, I'm not saying how dare she has all these little girls. I'm just saying, as a consumer, as somebody who is a mother of a not so little girl anymore, but still relatively young, and a lot of friends that have young girls that look up to her, I struggle because this is kind of like, this feels like an FU to a majority of her fan base. Like, yeah, I don't care. I'm just going to do what I want and sing what I want and be who I want, which again, like, I also understand the argument that of course she can do that, but I know I'm rambling. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's where I'm stuck on this.
I definitely hear you on that. I think that she has set such a high standard in writing music, period, but like lyrics and just with fan growing with her audience from
Yeah.
when she was writing at 13 to where she's now 35. I don't know how old she is now, but
She's
whatever.
35, I think. Yeah.
Something like that. She set such a high standard there, and there's such an anticipation for these albums, and it's so, like I mean, there's all of these, you can buy all these different versions, and everyone does it because it's like, and she's also proven her pen. We've heard, like you said, incredible, genius, mastermind things coming from her brain, and it drives me crazy. But what we also have to remember, and we know this, she's a businesswoman. And at the end of the day, she is not doing anything without, I think, and let me know what you think, but like elaborate thought and presumption of how her audience and the world are going to react.
Totally.
So I think of it in some part of her master plan. That sounds weird and like diabolical.
No.
Like she knew that half of the world was going to respond in that way, in the way that you're responding.
But I'm glad you bring up the business aspect, because that's a whole other piece to this that I actually like. I was joking in the beginning, like, yeah, I've got all these albums now, but that was only at the first drop.
Yeah.
There have been, I think
and I could be wrong on this. Maybe someone can fact check me out of my 5 listeners if someone cares enough to look it up. I think somebody said something like 16 variations and covers that she did. Here's my issue. Taylor, okay, like, we get it. You know your fans are gonna buy it. You knew you were gonna sell 2.7 million copies before the album even dropped because that's the power that you have right now in pop culture. And
Mhm.
that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is the cash grab after that of another countdown and another countdown, all for variations of the cover. And at some point, it's just like, okay, so you're just it's just an overt, like, you're gonna buy this and you're making me richer with how many variants do we need? How many images of you do we need? And so that part of it, when I said tone deaf earlier, I actually would apply that to the marketing of this because although it's fiscally successful, I'm sure
Mhm.
they're accomplishing that part of it. Anybody with half a brain cell or that has worked in marketing at all or in business at all is looking at this and saying, but she just doesn't care anymore.
Mm,
Like, she's just like, yeah, just keep on giving me your money,
mm,
which, look, there's a part of that in every business. But to me, this is so much of that that it's off-putting.
yeah.
I think a lot of people are starting to feel that way.
Something I think is
Ugh, I don't know.
yeah, is she did share, I don't know if it was on the New Heights podcast, or I think it was, and I didn't watch it all through, so this might not be exact, but she was sharing how it was the album that she was most proud of, the album that
Yeah.
she was so excited for the world to hear, to see. She wanted to make something that made her as proud of as the Eras Tour made her as
Mhm.
proud of. And a lot of the content in the marketing and all of that was obviously like the name of the album, Showgirl,
Mhm.
very like
Yeah.
flamingo and feathers and vibrant, and like I think I was expecting an album lyric wise that like reflected that, like kind
Yeah. Yes.
getting off stage and almost like the downfall of the showgirl, kind of like how I
Mhm.
feel when I'm alone after the high and the buzz, and like the love,
Yeah.
how I feel when I'm like taking off all the spark. Like that
Mhm.
was kind of what I was expecting from that marketing and all of that.
Yep.
And I feel like the name of the album doesn't exactly fit the content of the album. Like I
Agree.
always like as a songwriter but also just avid music listener, like I always struggle with that if I don't feel like it matches up. And of course there's
Yeah.
track The Life of the Showgirl with Sabrina Carpenter, which I do enjoy, and I feel like if one song was going to encapsulate that title it would be that one. So like I get it. But I think I was definitely I know I was expecting something a little different. I think the world might have been a little less surprised at some of the lyrics of the album.
Yeah.
It was called something different and wasn't like, I guess, advertised as it was, if that makes sense. And at that
Yeah.
point, like, include or don't, but like it feels a little different than what was like pushed out.
Yeah, well, and I saw a TikTok where somebody was talking about how it almost feels like she was like, "No, I want like I wrote these songs, but also this is the marketing I want because I'm excited about this like visual." And now she's trying to
Right.
talk about the album and the music as if she's like trying to shove it into that
Mm,
marketing because she loved
mhm,
that like
hmm.
visual, but it's forced, and I would agree. I mean, look at if she called this the life of a high school girl, I'd be like, this tracks. I'm serious, that's how it feels to me.
Yeah.
It feels very immature. And I was thinking about just like identity and how like tortured poets felt very heavy and
Mhm.
very heady and very intellectual. And I mean, I think you could argue folklore and Evermore that era was very much in that way as well. And let me just say this. I do love Travis Kelce. I think he's a gem and like a teddy bear, and I love their relationship for them, or at least for what they've put out into the world and what it appears to be. But somebody said on TikTok also, because that's where I get all of my information, that it's as if she had to write at Travis's reading level for this album, and I can't unhear it. And that sounds terrible. But it's like Joe Alwyn was this like
Mm,
British academic scholarly, and it's like, okay, Taylor, was that really you that you wanted? Because she talks about diving into literature, and I do think that that's who she was trying to be, but this now feels like she's trying to be the jock's girlfriend.
hmm.
Her language, the Gen Z words and vocab she's shoving into these lyrics of like keep it 100 and your vibes and like it's just it's just not it for me. It's
Yeah.
not it. It's not it.
Yeah, I think something that she has, like, done well in the past is so well, like, writing in a way that makes you wonder, like, writing in a way that
Mhm.
encapsulates feelings with complex vocabulary, and it just makes you, "Oh my gosh, how did she do that?" And that's why people re-listen and re-listen and re-listen because it puts into
Yeah.
words a feeling that is,
Yep.
like, relatable in a way. She paints these fictional stories that are elaborate, and she's able to put
Mhm.
that all into a word that also matches the sound, and it's, like, in a
Yeah.
way that's never been done before,
It's
which is why
genius.
I really enjoy a lot of her music, but I think people are struggling with the fact that this one, it's not as, like, thought-provoking of an album as in the past. It's not as heart-wrenching as albums in the past. It's not as, like, up for debate as to, like, what the songs are about, and so I think
Nope.
I I
Not up for debate.
uh, like, I do believe every songwriter's best music is written when they are in the trenches, when they're having those
Mhm.
gut feelings, and so, like and I think that's where the best music for her has come out of as well. Like, I remember even listening to Lover, and I was like, "Ah," I know that's your favorite, right? It's like
Lover in 1989, but yeah, I love Lover.
I listened to Lover, and I was like, "Ugh, I don't know," like, even Reputation, I was like, "This isn't my favorite."
But to your point about Lover, Emily and I were talking about this in the car today. So this is why I launched into this conversation with you. She has written happy songs while she's
Mhm.
happy, and they have still been really well done and lyrically
True.
excellent. Paper Rings, I think, is actually really well written and a very happy, dancey song. And it's not dumb. Like,
Mhm.
even Life of a Showgirl starts out with, like, she rhymes, like, kitty, pretty, city, and then she's like, legitly. I'm sorry. Did
Mhm.
a 5th grader I mean, it's just I'm like, "What is she doing?" It's almost as if she's trying to sound and maybe she is.
Mhm.
She's brilliant. So maybe this is all a ploy. I have no idea,
Mhm.
but if she was trying to look stupid, I feel as though she has accomplished
You know what?
that.
It's funny that you were saying that you were talking to Emily because when I was on the plane listening to the first track, I texted her and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's out," whatever.
Mhm.
And then I continued listening to it and she was like, "Yeah, I like some of the songs, not all."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Man, would I have enjoyed this album when I was an early teenager? Like, no.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have.
right.
I definitely would not have. And would I enjoy it 10, 15 years in my future? I don't know, maybe, maybe not. And
Well, and I think she might be embarrassed by this when she 5, 10 years down the road maybe has a family. I don't know. Like, drop. Sorry. Future Taylor is like, "Never listen to my music."
oh my god.
Cringe. It's cringy. It is cringy. That's
But you
how I
hear
feel
that on
about it.
every song, like, I hear that in some of them, like, for sure. But in
Let me tell you how I feel. The Fate of Ophelia, fine. I can get behind it. She used a Shakespearean name. I feel like, okay, we're getting a little bit of old Taylor there, even though some argue she's misusing, but we don't need to get into that. Elizabeth Taylor, hate it. Hate it.
I didn't love it either.
You love, oh, you didn't love it. Okay. Opalite. It's a bop. It's fine. I can see it. Father figure, hate it.
I liked that one. That one's up there.
Eldest daughter, wanna die, hate it. Hate it. Ruin the friendship, can't even get through the first bar. Can't do it.
But do you know what that one's about?
What they're all about. I've watched every commentary video, happy, sad, against, and for, and this is how I feel.
Okay.
Actually, romantic, I wish all of the words were different because I actually enjoy the music. I find myself just wanting to go back and listen to Weezer because I just would rather listen to Beverly Hills than, right? Is that the name of the song or is that just the first words? Is that the name of it? That is what she sampled for it.
Really?
Actually, romantic. Dun, dun, dun. Hold on. Why are
For real? Like, whoa.
Beverly? It is. Yeah. No, all of
Wow.
these songs are sampled. Did you not? You're not on TikTok anymore.
I heard that was a rumor. I didn't know that was true.
Oh, no, they are. They're sampled. Actually romantic. So I wish all of the words were different because I
No.
enjoy the music, but the words make me so upset and sad for her because I'm like, why are we focusing on somebody calling you boring Barbie when billions of people love you? Wish list, can't get through it.
Oh, tough.
Tone deaf, totally
Oh.
like horrifying.
Your whole black looking like you basketball.
There's been a lot of commentary on that. Would? What?
We
I
don't have
can't
to
even.
sing.
Nope. Canceled? Nope.
All caps, exclamation point.
2 L's. What is that? Why? There's a reason. I don't know what it is. Honey, fine. It's fine. Life of a Showgirl, Kitty City Pretty, legitly. Like I can't get past that.
I think that's the most like put together one.
The one with Sabrina Carpenter.
I do.
So listen, at the end of the day, she still got a couple $100 out of me. So.
And we'll probably continue to.
And we'll continue to. I'm not all of a sudden a Taylor hater. I actually enjoy listening to a couple of these songs and they're growing on me. But I do fear that she has, in her own way, jumped the shark because the lyrics just leave a lot to be desired. And like we were saying, maybe it's a function of the place in life she's in. I just do think she's like trying to morph into who she thinks she needs to be as a football player's girlfriend. That's how this feels to me. I think that's the best way I can articulate it. This feels like she's using language and the way she's putting words together it just feels inauthentic isn't the right word because I don't know who she is authentically. But I would say like maybe who she was trying to be in Folklore and Evermore and Tortured Poets was who she felt she needed to be because of that relationship. Maybe this is who she feels she is now that she's defining herself by this relationship. I don't know. That's how it feels. So enough about her. Let's talk about you. I had to do it. This was important. This is important. Pop culture and our commentary is needed in the world because not enough people are talking about this right now.
Everyone's wondering what we think. So
I feel that.
Yeah.
But when you're writing, and Julie, you are in a lovely relationship, not with a football player.
No, that's true. Well, he does like playing
football. Did he used to play?
No.
Nope. Okay.
Nope, baseball.
I'm just going to keep going. And we don't need to get into the details of that, but he is wonderful and we love him.
We do.
But do you feel like so coming out of the conversation of like writing and as an artist, there's that aspect of your life, right? Like, do you feel inspired by and you kind of addressed this. You were like, yeah, you don't feel the need to like process through, right? Because you're in a positive headspace and like happy and whatever. But can you see that ultimately inspiring you in a different way, in a new way? And maybe to write something better than this?
It's such an interesting question. And I've gotten it from several people recently.
Really?
Yeah. And I wish I could say yes. Like I really do. And I've tried to write songs even in the past about like being in a positive headspace or about something happy or about something that's really great and special. And I just like, I really struggle because I feel like I can never write it's never as good as I want it to be. Like, it's never as good as I want it to sound. And I feel like it ends up sounding like downplaying it or sounding like annoying.
That's really interesting.
And then I get so frustrated sometimes when I'm sitting down and I feel like what I'm writing is annoying or is like.
Well, I feel like we need to unpack that. Why do you feel like it's annoying that you're happy?
No. I don't think it's annoying that I'm happy. I think it's harder
this requires gummies.
I think I want some so bad. Oh, it looks so good. Let me just watch you eat it. I feel like it's harder to encapsulate in a way that isn't annoying. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not like
Yeah, I do, because I do think we are similar in that way where it's like, but I do think it's a problem.
That's interesting.
I think, again, this is not all about Taylor Swift, but just in that vein, part of me hates crapping on this album because I do think like, she's like, but I'm happy. And she is unapologetically happy. And she's like, but this is the music I wanted to make right now. I do think there's room for that. I don't think she did it well, but that's part of what we were just talking about. But regardless, I think like what she does do very well at this point is she's like, I'm amazing and I'm happy and this is what
Mm.
I want to tell the world about my happiness and my fiance's pants. But again, her choice.
And that's what she did.
And that is what she did. But for you, I think like even to jump to it may be annoying is not fair to yourself because
Do
it's
this to
not
me.
annoying that you're happy. What? What?
You always do this to me.
I'm sorry. What did I do? I'm
You
re-
just you're so good.
I'm reprimanding you. It's the mom in me. Sorry, Aunt Janny. What do I do? Now I'm self-conscious.
Oh, it's true because you hit me with the truth, and it's true,
Oh.
and I don't think that it's like, I don't think it's annoying that I'm happy. That's not what I'm getting at, but
No, I know what you're saying.
and the best to your point about her album and being her true authentic self on it.
Mhm.
The best songwriting advice that I ever have gotten is so simple and it's just be honest. Like don't try and
Mhm.
make it something that isn't you. Don't try and make something
Mhm.
that it's not. Be honest and you will
Mhm.
write a song that like you will write the song that you're trying to write if you're just honest with it. And I think I sometimes struggle with that a little bit. I try and
Mhm.
like take too much from my influences or like a love song that I've heard in the past has sound really like
Mhm.
this. So let me try and like put my spin on that. And I always get so frustrated because it never sounds the way that I want it to, I guess. And I never can like make it sound how I'm actually feeling when it
Mhm.
that like when I'm feeling hurt, sad, angry, frustrated, I feel like it's
Mhm.
much easier just to like dig in and you're like
Mhm.
I'm just kind of going a million miles a minute and it's chaotic and I'm writing things down and I'm whatever. But when I'm trying to write about a good thing, it's almost like frustrating when I can't
Sure.
down and then I just get annoyed and I'm like, okay, I need to step away because now it's not fun because I'm annoyed.
Yeah. No, I get that. I can you look back at like what's your favorite song you've ever written?
Hmm. That's such a good question. I feel like probably the edge of something.
Okay.
I would say the edge of something or asking heaven, and I can
Okay.
explain why. So, the edge of something was written at a time where I was in a very transitional period of my life, like 4 or 5 years ago or something at this point, and I was really feeling like I was on the edge of something new, on
Mhm.
the edge of a change in my life, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea what was coming next, but I was not anymore feeling like fear or scared of that. I was feeling
Mhm.
excited and I was
Okay.
wondering, but it was like kind of like a good type of wonder. And so that's what the song is about. It's about feeling like you're on the edge of something good in life and like
Mhm.
being excited about it and just kind of wanting to walk right into it. So that's a song that I really like and I feel like turned out exactly how I wanted it to, what the vision
Mhm.
what like you can listen to now. And then
I love that.
Lifting Heaven is a song that I wrote from the trenches. Got the idea on my bedroom floor at like 3 a.m. when I couldn't sleep one night. And I
Mhm.
just, again, it was a transitional time in life, but it was like before I got to the point of being excited of moving into something new. And
Mhm.
it was before I had gotten to a point, or I guess right at the point of just being like, God, why? Like, why? And I was
Mhm.
there literally on my bedroom floor. I'm looking at the area right now because I'm like, I can see my it's like honestly a little bit scary, but I feel like God was just like, well, have you asked me? Like, have you asked me what's
Mm. This was as you said this happened at 3 a.m.
Mhm.
You know that's like the hour that when he wakes us up like to pray.
Mhm.
Like it's always 3 a.m. Anybody you talk to, it's like always 3 a.m.
Mhm.
It's so interesting.
It's yeah, it really is. That's a whole 'nother
I know, I know, I know.
I love it. Anyways, but yeah, I kind of had them and I was like, "Whoa." Like, no, I haven't.
Mhm.
But that opened a whole so many things for me. And
Mhm.
the next day I started writing that song and it was probably the fastest song that I've ever written and one of my favorites as well of like the answer is there and you don't know.
Mhm.
And that's
Yeah.
okay, but it's also like hard and so we have to ask and the song is all about that and so I would say
Mhm.
those two are my favorite. They came really naturally, which the majority of my songs do. I never like
Mhm. force
force
it.
it. I just
Yeah.
write what I'm feeling and thinking about, but those 2, thinking back even on, like, the songwriting process and, like, the recording process of those as well, it just felt
Mhm.
very right, and it felt like
Yeah. Well, you are crazy talented, and I'm not just saying that because we're family, but I do like I mean, my 2 favorites, obviously Cool Kids Club, because my girls sing
Mhm.
backup vocals. Shout out, nailed it. And Friends Don't was your first single ever,
Mhm.
but it's just so good. And it's not just that like, "Oh, I like the song." Like, I really do think you have such a gift for songwriting.
Thank you.
Most of it far outdoes this album, Life of a Showgirl. It just does, Julie, and I'm not just saying that, and I really, really hope and pray anyone listening, out of all of my listeners, that they go and listen to your songs because you are so talented, and it really is a gift. And, I wanna go back to something that you started out saying, like, just about writing when we were talking about being a Christian and not doing Christian music, but you mentioned, like, that you've tried to write worship music.
Mm.
I think and I am historically, I've been a writer, never written music though, so
Mhm.
I don't know what I'm saying. But I do think there is a place for Christian music that's not worship music. Well, there is. I mean, we know it exists, right? And
Yeah.
obviously. But I, you know, I would just encourage you that if that ever is something that does come naturally to you, that there's a story to tell or some way to weave that in that like I wouldn't be afraid of that because you haven't done that and that doesn't need to become your whole
Mm.
catalog.
Yeah.
But also if not, like I also would want to encourage you like that's okay. I don't
Mm.
think it's like we are in the world but not of the world. I mean, there's a place for people to be entertainers and be artists and be musicians, at least in my opinion, and not be directly related to their faith. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean you act in like you don't counter your faith through it,
Mhm.
right? But we are to be salt and light, and
Yeah.
sometimes that just requires being who we are to show the world that your light shines without having to put it on
Mm.
display as like
Yeah.
the
Yes.
the
Yeah.
message. Yeah.
That's a really good point. I remember my therapist told me
Me? Who, me? Sorry. I give myself a lot of credit there.
it's true. It's true. If you know, you know. Years and years and years and years ago. I've been writing music for over 10 years now, which is
Mhm.
wild. And of course, right when I was starting, it was like the songs are silly. They're not even about anything. It's just for fun.
Mhm.
So I was talking to her and she was like, well, have you ever thought about writing about your faith? And this was before I feel like I was bringing any of that into my music. And
Mhm.
I never do intentionally. It's just like if it comes, it comes. And I want that to shine through, like you're
Yeah.
saying. And I was like, that's really interesting. A really interesting question because in the past I would get asked that, like, you should write worship music. You should put out a worship album. You should
I
do,
think that is so like such a pressure, like worship music specifically. Like, dude, I mean, David had a lot of that covered. I don't know if I can.
yes, I know. And I'm like, whoa, like, should I not be writing secular
Mm,
music? Should I
yeah.
only be writing worship music? Like, is it wrong to be? Or I'd get the question, oh, you have music. Is it Christian music? And it's
Mm,
like, I'm a Christian and it's music that I wrote.
right.
So
Right.
but I don't like it's a weird thing, but when my therapist asked me that, "Have do you incorporate music or faith into your music? Have you ever thought about writing that?" I was like, "Hmm." Like, when you put it that way, I'm like, it feels a little bit easier, and that was around
Mhm.
the time that I was starting to write Asking Heaven, and I kinda let it be a little bit more natural, like you're saying, and it felt
Mhm.
so much I don't know, so much easier and so much better that way to just kind of
Well,
like
that label of worship music that does feel very pressure filled. I would run the other way from that too. Not saying you should if you felt led to do that,
yeah.
but I feel like that is a whole other echelon of a genre
Yeah,
really than
for
just
sure.
Christian music is one thing or faith-based or
Mhm.
faith-informed music is one thing and
Mhm.
praise and worship music is a
Yeah,
completely different
yeah,
bucket
yeah,
altogether, I would
abs
think.
yeah, and then I would get frustrated because then I was like, "Okay, well, let me, like, try and, like, really write," which has never worked out well for me when I try and fit into, like, a bucket or try and sit down and write.
Mhm.
It's never gonna happen for me. Not to say it doesn't happen
Yeah.
for people, it's not wrong to, like, sit down and try and do those things, But for me, it has just never worked. But it goes back to being frustrated or annoyed at what I'm writing. Is like I would try and write a worship song, and I couldn't.
Mhm.
I'd be like, well, why can't I? Like I'm just like I should
Yeah.
be able to, you know. So it opens again a whole new can of worms. But like I think for me, ultimately, it's just about being honest and like putting down my thoughts in the best way that I can. And that's
Yeah.
the fun part about it too. That's what I love about songwriting is no one
Mhm.
else can no one can tarnish it, it's mine, I have full control over it, which maybe that's, like
You own your masters? Do you own your masters, Julie?
one has interest, let me know.
Julie's version?
I'm like, "Have it." No, please.
Well, but it's not should, right? Like you're like saying, should I, shouldn't I? My therapist used to say all the time, like, stop shoulding all over yourself.
Mm,
And Joe and I say that to each other all the time. Well, actually, he says it to me because he doesn't ever do that. But she did used to say that. And I think it's a really good reminder that it's like, well, no, you shouldn't necessarily do anything if that's
mhm,
not. I mean, I'm not talking like what's right and wrong. I'm just saying like in something like this, or if you feel like it's not coming easily, or it's not something that you have
right,
to do for one reason or another, it that's okay. I think like it's easy for us to get in this, like, especially in the faith community, like, well, what should I be doing with
mhm,
with my gifts, or what should I
mm,
be pursuing and not pursuing? And it's like, yes, there's an element of that to our walk in life and in faith and in friendships and relationships, but it's just sometimes taking that pressure off a little bit, and then it suddenly becomes more clear. Our
mhm.
path becomes a little bit more clear when we stop trying to figure it out all the time. And I think
So
that's probably true for writing music as it
writing
is in anything.
yes, exactly, and I feel like definitely found more peace with that as I'm older now. I think it went
Mhm.
5, 10 years ago, not as much, not at all, but I think that comes just in growing in life, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. And speaking of growing in life, you've had a really fun
What are you
journey to get to where you are now. Listen, like I said, we don't have to get into your relationship, but I do think as like a young Christian woman, it's
Mhm.
been a road.
Yes,
It's been a road.
and you've
Do
seen
you
it
feel
all.
like do you feel like sharing anything about that journey?
Oh my gosh, where do you even start?
Well, okay, I'll ask questions
Okay.
as I pop a gummy worm. It felt appropriate because we're always eating candy together,
We really are, and I feel
but
a little alone, like, I feel like I need something, and
do
I
you
just
not
don't
have any candy in your house and
I'm
just it's not
looking
near you?
around. I mean, you know what? I do, don't be that
I
concerned. I
feel like you should maybe go get some.
okay, I'm telling you, there has to be something nearby, that's why I'm looking.
She's looking in case anyone's listening to this and not watching on YouTube, I'm not cutting this out because I want people to see that you're looking
I'm telling you,
all
you're gonna be
around your floor. Like there's gonna be random candy. She's like, wait, there's gotta be some around here.
No, I
What is
know
happening?
there I know that I have it where oh, wait, hold on, come here.
All right, well, I'll just chew in the meantime. Twin snakes are not typically my go-to, but in a pinch, I enjoy them. I'll cut this out. Or maybe I won't.
I could hear you faintly talking when I was, like, running up the stairs. I have
You wanna see me all alone. Okay. What'd you get? Oh, our watermelons.
watermelon.
Those'll do in a pinch.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm oh, this is what I was gonna say
Where
though.
were we?
We're always eating candy together.
That's right.
So I was like, I should have gummies during our conversation. But in
Don't
reality, what doesn't work is when you're recording a podcast
and
and
then
chewing into a microphone.
right. It's
So
okay.
we're gonna stop.
The true fans will be fine with it.
I would say hi to my husband, but he hasn't caught up past like episode 3. So by the time if ever listens to this,
Years from now.
we'll be in 2027. View.
Okay.
Aunt Janny's listening. Hi, Aunt
Oh
Janny.
gosh, yeah, 100%.
She's got a top fan badge, JCW badge for sure.
Hashtag
And I
JC.
love her for it. Okay. All right. So we're going to go back to our topic of conversation, which was your dating history.
Title out there on the line
No,
club.
but listen, I do want to talk about this because, and I'm not digging into your personal details, but my point is like, you are a young
Christian woman, and maybe someday some other young Christian woman will listen to this that isn't my daughter. She's welcome to listen to it. I'm just saying maybe somebody outside of my own family might hear this someday. It's a difficult road to navigate. And I know this because I've walked alongside of you through some of it. And I'm just curious what you'd like to share about that. 'Cause it's not good.
It is such a broad, like, there's so much and it's so hard. Like, it really, really is. And I think, oh my gosh, I'm so glad. I feel like the Lord saved me from so much heartbreak and like so many things that I could have gotten into that I didn't. So that,
Well, I think to that point, and I'm so sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I really want you to, as we're diving into this, I think it's important for you to share the prayer you used to pray before every single date,
mm,
because you and I would have these conversations, and without fail, the
yeah,
prayer
every
was a
single
critical piece. So
every single time.
every single time.
Like, the kind of thing that freaks you out almost,
Mhm.
to be
Mhm.
completely honest, a little bit.
Mhm.
And every single time I would be like,
Well, you got to tell what the prayer was.
I know. Okay, but my prayer was, if I'm never supposed to see this person again, make it so abundantly clear to me. Something of that. Maybe not the word, but like, if I'm never
Close the door. Yeah.
close the door, if this is supposed to go nowhere, make it so obvious to me that it like hits me in the face, like violently almost.
Mhm.
Like I just wanted it to be so clear. And I have several instances. I mean, for example, went on a date with this other Christian man and
Boy.
boy
Boy.
person.
Mhm.
And
Well, definitely boy.
yeah. Anyways, I hadn't prayed the prayer until we were 10 minutes out of
Sorry.
if I'm never meant to see this person again, make it so clear to me. Close the door and don't open it again. I want nothing to do with it if it's not what you have for me.
Mhm.
And I would pray that every single time, and I sometimes would hate praying it. I wouldn't wanna pray it because I
Mhm.
feel like I knew what was coming, like, a little bit deep down every time, I feel like I knew what was coming.
Man,
But,
do I wish I prayed that prayer.
oh my gosh, and I should have started praying it
Mm.
sooner. But once
Yeah,
I did, and I'm not saying that this is always, you know, God works in so many different ways, but I mean, up until now with my current boyfriend, anytime I prayed that prayer, it was, I'm telling you, instantaneous in a way. Like, I'm
I
talking
know.
in 24 hours, as early as 10 minutes one time. I mean, I should have had a timer rolling because it was, I was shocked. My jaw dropped, but I was like, "Oh my gosh." Like, God is just so good in that way. And in the moment, I'm not like, "Woo, perfect, great. This is fine." It's frustrating and it's like it doesn't make sense sometimes, and I didn't
Mhm.
like that answer a lot of the time, but it's something that I think is just so important and critical
Mhm.
to bring into your dating life experiences. I'm talking from the minute you like have feelings or like a thought or like,
Mhm.
it's just so important and for me so critical in, I guess, just avoiding all the pains that can come from that. Not that it's not painful experiencing like not getting something that you think you might get or whatever
Yeah.
it is. I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
putting,
but the pain could have been way worse. We've talked
yeah.
about that. But I don't think it's dissimilar from what you were talking about when you were struggling with songwriting.
Mhm.
Or in the instance with asking heaven where you were just like, "Okay, Lord," like, and he's like, "Have you asked me?" And
Mhm.
so we do shy away from being clear. I mean, we tell our kids all the time, like, "Well, if you ask for it,
Mm.
you just don't know what the answer might be. Like, I don't
Mhm.
know, if you're out of deodorant and you ask, you'll probably get a new one." Like, it's not that hard. And it sounds funny and trite, but like it's true, right? So,
Mhm.
with your situation with dating, and you'd be like, "What the heck? Like, I can't believe again." And I'm like, "Well, did you pray your prayer?"
Mhm.
And without fail, every time you
Mhm.
had prayed that you wanted the Lord to close the door if it wasn't right. And I'm like, "Well,
Mhm.
he's answering your prayer." It feels crappy in the moment and you're
Yeah.
confused and you're like, "But why does this keep happening?" But then when the right thing did come along, you understood instantly almost, right? Like why all those other things didn't work out.
And that's such a cool thing to witness.
Mhm. And I think too, it's like I was scared to pray that prayer this time around because it was like it felt like it was something different and I was like, well, here we go. Like I don't want to pray
Mhm.
it, but here we, like I was like, but it's also about being faithful in like continuing in those prayers because it's
Mhm.
really easy to stop and just say,
Mhm.
yeah, but like let me just no, it was so crucial with me, but something that you were really clear with me in this moment was also like, okay, but now you have to like be okay with the open door. You have to walk through the open
Mhm.
because I
Yeah.
was like looking in the door, but I wasn't like I was scared to
Well,
go through.
of course. And I remember, I think what I said to you was if you're going to let the no's be easy and obvious, then you have to be willing to also let the yeses be yes.
Exactly.
Right? If you're so willing to accept the no, you have to equally be as willing to accept the yes. And I think once you transitioned in your brain after the first couple of, I don't even know if it took as long as a couple of dates, but first couple of interactions, you're like, okay, you had to kind of rework your mindset and like
Yeah.
reframe everything because you were used to the cycle of don't let this work if it's going to be bad, and then it would be bad, and then you're like, here we go again. It's like this disappointment, and then all of a sudden you find yourself comfortable in the rejection and comfortable in the no, so the yes is foreign.
Yes.
And that makes sense, right? Like it tracks
Mhm.
that of course it felt different and uncomfortable because you had become familiar and comfortable
Mhm.
in the no.
Mhm. Yeah. And
And I'm
that
so proud of you.
oh,
I'm so proud of you. I mean, I'm happy for you too, because obviously you're happy and he's a wonderful guy and you guys are like the sweetest together. I love your story. But I'm really proud of you for pushing through that because it would have been easy for you to be like, yeah, I don't know. And like just be afraid and push it away. And like you've both dug in ways, and not that I know everything at all, but just from the little that I know about some of your dynamics, you both have really dug in and done hard work from the very beginning to really get it right. And I just think not a lot of people have the blessing of experiencing that themselves and in a partner that's doing that. And so I just really, really happy for you.
thank you. It's definitely yeah, it's something that's been, like, so worth the pains of the nightmare that can
Mm-hmm.
be dating in our modern world between
Oh,
dating apps and church, like,
mm.
dating, and it is really, really hard and, like, painful and annoying.
I don't know how anyone does it.
It's
I don't get it.
it is so yeah,
I mean, it
hard.
was hard before social media
Yeah.
back in the olden days.
The
Dating
olden
was
days,
tough
the
because it just
ancient.
is, right? Yeah, ancient. Okay. And that wraps it up.
But it yeah, it was so worth the wait, and we're early in our relationship, but we know that the Lord's at the center of it, and that's what's the most important, and
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for
I'm so happy for
for
you.
sharing. Yeah, thank you.
So, what's next? Anyways, no, I'm very happy for you. The dating world is so foreign to me because the way it looks now just from conversations with you, I have no idea how anyone survives. It is a torturous situation out there.
Absolutely. It
And for
really
Christians, you bring up a good point. Like the apps are one thing, and that's like, we could get into that, but it's like church is supposed to be, and this was true even back when I was dating or younger. Church is supposed to be like a safe place and meeting people at church, but it is,
yeah.
and there's a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing, and there's a lot of sheep's and wolves' clothing, and
Mhm.
it's not fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if I could tell myself anything, it would be a little bit more, and I would change nothing about my journey, story, whatever. But me and my boyfriend met at like a Christian artists event.
Wait, time out. At
What?
an event that I begged you not to go to.
Really? When I was sitting right here in this chair. Exact actually I could close my eyes and I could be transported back. It's true. And I wasn't going to, I was convinced and then I went. So
And was the one who set you up to go there. And I was like, why would you go to that dumb thing? Don't do that.
I was like, you know what? You're right.
But to be fair, he did not send you there for
It's
the
true.
love of your life in Joshua. He sent you there for a potential other meeting that did not pan out. So I don't feel like I was necessarily way off base here.
Neither of us knew what was actually happening. So
No.
we were just both bamboozled.
We were bamboozled.
Anyways,
Anyways.
I think it's really easy to just be like, oh, I'm just going to go on the dating apps. I'm just going to like go to like, I don't know, the bar. I'm just going to go wherever. It's fine to meet people in those two places. Those are just
Or like church groups. I mean,
young adults, whatever.
yeah.
Events. That's fine. But I feel like inserting yourself into environments where you would like regularly be in and like finding other people who are like you is like, that's where I ended up finding.
Yeah.
You know, so like, I don't know. I think people sometimes have it wrong and don't as well. It's not, there's no formula, okay? But like, it makes sense as to why we met each other in that space.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
doesn't always happen.
totally.
It didn't happen for me until now, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I mean, and that's what we did encourage you to do. You know, is just because it hadn't happened yet in that circumstance, that didn't make that a bad approach, right? Of just like being, because it is important. You know, I was talking to somebody today a little bit about just, you know, having gone through a divorce and remarriage and all of that. One of the things that we were talking about is I just said, you know, in my younger years and in my first marriage, I didn't understand the value of friendship with your spouse. I was like, no, I have my girlfriends and like my spouse is my spouse, but like that's not something I understood as important in a relationship. And I never really had a good example of a good marriage. So I just really, it wasn't something that I understood. Now having Joe he's my very best friend and we enjoy a lot of the same things and we enjoy each other and we make each other laugh. And well, he makes me laugh. I don't know if I make him laugh, but you know, we have a lot of fun together. And there's so much value in that. So my point is like meeting somebody in a space where there's already a commonality, a common interest, and not just that you're both Christians, but you were at an artist circle, right? It's like there's so much value there. And I don't think anybody ever explained to me how important that was. And I see that as so important now. So I think for you, of course that makes sense, right? But just because had you gone to other events like that and not met Joshua yet, that doesn't make that a bad approach.
Of course.
So if you're listening, go to artist circles. If you're an artist.
Be in the bio.
If you're looking for a football player, call Taylor Swift.
NFL games also works. Just go there.
mean, go walk the sidelines. Yeah, I think it's hard for young Christians. It's hard for anyone in the dating world, but especially when you are a person of faith trying to like line up more than just, do I think you're attractive and do we have a couple things in common? There's a lot more there. And so it can be really discouraging, but not impossible. And you are proof. Proof.
Living proof. I can honestly see it. I'm gonna write that down. Living proof, next album name.
Yes.
I mean,
Better than Life of a Showgirl.
dropping next fall. Just wait.
Living proof.
I mean,
I feel like something just happened here.
Gotta go.
Something magical just happened. Record this moment. This is staying in the podcast. We will cut back to this when the album drops. And it's all happy and well done.
Well, we'll see about that.
It will be. All right, Julie, my love. Thank you for spending this ridiculous hour with me. I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure what happened, but you let me complain about Taylor's new album. We vibed a little. We talked about your journey.
If we were on your couch, we'd be saying the same thing. So.
This really is true, actually. This is what it looks like. And I love everything about it.
Me too.
I love you.
I love you so much.
Check out Julie Miller Music on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon. Where are we going?
Do it. Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Download.
What?
You can find my music just about anywhere that you can find Music.
Julie Miller Music on Instagram, not on TikTok anymore because she got hacked. It's a real problem.
Zero.
All right. I love you, girlfriend. I can't wait for more music to come. Happy, well-written, amazingly produced, beautiful vocals, Julie Miller Music.
Wow. Goodbye, Jesus Coffee and Wine.
Love you.
Love you.
I've got a lot to say, but I won't say it. I've got places to go. You said a lot to me, but did you mean it? I'm starting to wanna know. Friends don't run when they get too close. Friends don't call my phone when they get too drunk. Friends don't. And I know you know we talk how friends don't. You drive down my road, just how friends don't. Just how friends don't. It's funny now when I think about it, especially the words you said. And if the new me saw the old me, it'd be something. I'd pay to see that.